So I'm Seth Forwood, Vice President of Programs for Fort Collins Rescue Mission, and I'm really thrilled to be here with our State Representative, Andy Boesenecker. And we're here to talk about what situations intersect with homelessness, the state, and then as both Fort Collins community members, our community.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here, Andy.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah.
My first question is, at the state level, when you consider the issue of homelessness, what are some factors that are talked about at the state level, and what are some of the things that are really exciting?
You know, I think one of the things that was incredibly exciting during a very difficult time in our community and certainly across our country was the ability to prioritize COVID and pandemic relief dollars towards the issue of folks who find themselves unhoused.
Yeah.
Because we know that resource scarcity is real everywhere. It's certainly real here in our community.
Yeah.
And to be able to empower folks who are doing good work on the ground is certainly paramount for us at the state level.
Yeah.
And I think, the other thing is, past the immediate crisis of being unhoused in a community or finding yourself in that situation, I think that it's also a conversation around what affordability looks like in our communities across the state. Because we know that the ability to find an affordable rental, certainly an affordable home to purchase, is really difficult for folks.
Yeah.
And so it is both holistic and also really focused on what we can do to support local partners on the ground.
Yeah. Well, we are here at the construction site for
It's amazing.
homeless resolution.
It's incredible.
Center.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned the ARPA money and the CARES Act before that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, this project is a once in a lifetime project because of the ARPA dollars that are involved with it.
That's amazing.
Where we got, close to $7 million from ARPA money to make this a reality.
And those transformative projects and those transformative dollars, I mean, certainly they will transform this landscape, but I just think about what they're going to do for folks who encounter and experience the wonderful services that you're going to be able to provide here. Transformative in a whole generational way.
Yeah. Breaking generational patterns, preventing generational patterns from being started.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think people have seen across the country is that when there's a lack of affordable housing, homelessness increases.
That's right.
In those communities, right?
Well, you find yourself, unfortunately, you might find yourself one paycheck, one medical event away from having to make really difficult decisions. And for a lot of folks, that means becoming unhoused.
Yeah.
And so being able to solve those situations in a way that keeps people housed or provides opportunities for them to attain housing is really important.
Yeah. As I've reflected, we had the fire at the Fort Collins Rescue Mission in our kitchen, and we've had to vacate that. And it really, as I'm thinking about it, it's not unlike the situation that our guests and that people experiencing homelessness are in. They don't expect to have disasters in their life. They're not eager to be in the situation of homelessness.
That's right.
But the circumstances have led them to that place, right? And just like the fire at Fort Collins Rescue Mission, it is going to take an entire community to surround this problem in order to find the solutions that we need for this winter. And it takes a whole community to surround the people experiencing homelessness to get them into housing of their own.
That's right.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your wider community efforts around affordable housing locally here, around homelessness, and just what bringing the whole community around looks like.
Well, I'll just start with this. I think when I think about Fort Collins and the reason why we are proud to call Fort Collins home, it centers around values of inclusion. It centers around a value of hospitality.
Yeah.
And it centers around, I believe, a core belief that if you find yourself in a hard situation, be that you're behind on your utilities or you've lost your housing for one reason or another, that we're a community that's going to do what we can to provide you the resources to be able to solve that problem, have housing, get healthcare, whatever that might look like, right? Because that's who we are.
Yeah.
And I fundamentally still believe that to be true of us as a nation, right? That's who we are. That when we see someone in a hard spot, we're going to do everything we can to help out.
Yeah.
And for me, that looks like policy at the state level, right? It means finding ways to build more affordable housing in our communities, finding ways to make sure that our mobile home park communities stay that state's largest source of unsubsidized affordable housing, right? Meaning there's no state dollars that go into making those mobile home parks affordable. They're naturally occurring. And so we have to find entry points back into housing for folks. And that's where I think state dollars and state resources are incredibly helpful, both to
Yeah.
preserve existing affordable housing, but also to build more, because we know that home ownership is the key barrier for a lot of folks staying in our community.
Yeah.
Or for a lot of folks, it might be a reason that they've lost their home in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. And I love the framing of the issue as hospitality. I mean, that's why we call our shelter clients guests.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
they are guests staying with us. We are hosting them, and we want to be hospitable to them. I also love that emphasis on addressing all the areas of the community, because if we lose mobile home parks, that means that we are almost definitely going to have an influx of homelessness.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
If we don't keep building affordable housing projects at many different levels, that's going to translate into on-the-street homelessness.
That's right.
And that's another big emphasis for this building is we are surrounded by mobile home parks right here.
Yeah.
And I'm deeply committed, because I've heard the stories of the people in those mobile home parks. I'm deeply committed to having this building not just be a resource for people who are experiencing actual homelessness, but, you know, we do a Thanksgiving in a Box program. And I'm really excited to be able to do Thanksgiving in a Box for mobile home neighbors, you know, right alongside a turkey drive with La Familia or something like that.
Yeah.
Because when we narrow our focus and we start to believe that we can only serve one aspect of the community, that's, I think, when we kind of lose the plot.
Well, and these issues don't exist in a silo, right?
Exactly.
We know that the issues of poverty and homelessness are interconnected with a host of very challenging issues in our community. And it can feel so impossible to solve those things, right?
Yeah.
Because they're big challenges. But how do we do it?
Yeah.
I think we start connecting people, right? And we know, and I think you're more aware than I am, that the places of connection in our community are few and far between. And these are really politically charged times. I mean, I see that at the state capitol. It's true nationally, right? So what is our response as a community? I think it's something like this, where we provide spaces and opportunities for folks who perhaps don't believe the same things, who have had different life experiences, to come together and do something good on behalf of our community. That is a gift in and of itself. And I think how that changes people's perceptions, certainly stigmas around homelessness and poverty, but also I think perceptions around what it means to live in a mobile home park, or what it means to live in affordable housing. Like, these are points of pride for our community, that we have places where people belong and that they can call home. And I think I'm incredibly excited about what this can do to further that.
Yeah. Fragmentation is one of the key dilemmas of our day, I think.
Yeah.
And overcoming fragmentation is one of those daunting problems, right?
It takes intentional effort and investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I admire of those people in the mobile home community just on the other side of the railroad tracks here, who Spanish is their first language, but seeing the kind of community that they built, like, we should be learning from them about how to overcome fragmentation.
Yeah.
Because they actually need to understand what homelessness is, because they don't struggle with that in a lot of ways. If somebody needs a place to stay, they find places for them to stay in the tight woven fabric of that community. I'm really in admiration of them.
These are communities that have long known the secret of shared resources, and have been so generous inside of their communities, and even across the divide of a railroad track. You know, our mobile home park communities here in Colorado, and certainly Fort Collins, I think are just incredibly resilient, incredibly understanding of the issues that are challenging a lot of folks who are unhoused as well. And I think could be really great partners in this work.
I'm hopeful to build a stronger relationship with them. Because it just benefits the whole community.
It does.
And the business community is another one of those partners that in some communities there's an antagonistic relationship with business partners and with nonprofit leaders or organizations that are working in homelessness. And I've found that I'm stealing this from somebody else, but it's where there are not shared values, because sometimes that's what keeps people divided. Is I value, bootstrapping, make your own way, and another person values shared resources. But okay, if you get beyond that and you value shared interests, which is I don't think it's healthy for somebody to be living on the street.
Yeah.
And a business owner doesn't like having somebody on their alleyway or on their front step. Okay, well, let's start there and talk about what solutions actually can be forged from both of our interests
That's right.
in solving this problem and go from there.
Yeah.
And that kind of creative way of finding common ground, it is lacking in our community, but it's the only way to go forward.
Well, it is. And ultimately, I think you end up really demystifying a lot of the misconceptions around what it
There's
means.
learning that happens
Right.
there.
You know, and also understand from, our business community's perspective what's important to them. And I think we share the same things, right?
Yes.
We all want a community that's safe. We all want a community where everyone has a place of belonging. We all want a community where folks have a place to call home.
Yeah.
And I think, there are challenges that are different across the socioeconomic spectrum to get to that goal, but it doesn't mean they're not solvable.
Yep.
And I even think folks who show up and express concern or whatever that might be about an issue, they're doing that because they care about the issue.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge opportunity for us to bring folks into the conversation and solve that problem together.
And they often care about different people.
Yeah.
They still care about people.
Of course.
But, I have talked to a business owner who just cares about her staff and employees. And those are important people in our community too.
That's right.
So when you choose to embrace all of the community and say that we value everybody, that's when those conversations can happen. And who knows if a shelter guest can become stable and then become an employee right across the street.
Right.
That actually happens, and that's when you really see the fruit of collaboration.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Andy, for...
Oh, Seth, my pleasure. Congratulations to you all. This is incredible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.